Hello everyone, and welcome to this Meet Your Future session. In these sessions we hear from people in different roles, and you have the opportunity to ask them your questions about their journey and what it is that they do. My name is Jamie and I'm your host today. I work at the Greater Manchester Combined Authority, and it's my job to help young people find out more about the different jobs and pathways that are available out there. One of the ways that you can do that is on the GMACS website, gmacs.co.uk. That's gmacs.co.uk, which has lots of information for young people who live in Greater Manchester. Today, though, we are going to hear about higher and degree level apprenticeships. We've got speakers from 3 different organisations today. We've got Rebecca Stone and Paul Skerry from construction company BAM Nuttall. We've got Tom Pierce and Sue Lagarde from accountancy firm Grant Thornton. And we have Warren Young from cable management company HellermanTyton. Each company will speak for 15 minutes about their firm and about the apprenticeships that they offer. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat and we will have time at the end after everyone has spoken to answer some of them. Okay, everybody, I am now delighted to hand over to our first speakers today, Rebecca Stone and Paul Skerry from BAM Nuttall. Thank you very much, both of you.
Okay, thank you, Jamie. So I'm Paul Skerry. I'm BAM Nuttall's early careers and professional development manager. And today, as Jamie said, we're going to talk a little bit about what we do in BAM with apprenticeships. So if somebody could just advance the slide for me, that would be great. Okay, we may just have a problem with that. If just bear with us for a moment. Super. Okay, so I'll start off our presentation, and then halfway through, Rebecca will pick things up, and I'll get Rebecca to introduce herself then. So firstly, BAM Nuttall, a little bit about who we are and what we do. So we're part of the Royal BAM Group, and that's one of the largest construction companies in Europe. You can see there we've got a turnover of about 7 billion euros a year, so very, very big company, and over 19,000 employees spread across the UK and mainland Europe. We have 7 companies where we operate, and we're active in over 30 different regions. So a little bit about how we're structured. So there are 2 bits to the company. The bit that looks at construction and property. So the construction bit is it's looking at offices and hospitals, schools, that kind of thing, construction of those. Also some residential property in some parts of the group. And the civil engineering, we're looking at things like power stations, railways, roads, tunnels, maritime schemes, you name it. We're into all those things, and we're split in the UK into 2 companies. The construction company is called BAM Construct, and the civil engineering company is called BAM Nuttall. So we're here today sort of in the capacity supporting BAM Nuttall, but we operate across both sectors in the UK. Okay, if we just have the next slide. So a little bit now about BAM Nuttall, and you can see there the photographs on the right. Those are the kind of things we do. We've got a maritime scheme there at the top and a railway scheme next to it. Some tunnelling, some roads. So we've got some smart motorways at the bottom of the photo there. The tunnelling is probably one of our projects in London. We're doing lots of those at the moment. We've been involved with Crossrail and things like that. Some of you may recognise the photograph of the station in the middle of the slide. That's the area just outside Victoria Station in London. You can see one of the theatres there, but that's the thing with civil engineering. You don't necessarily see what we build. A lot of it can be below ground, so it's just going on around you, and that was quite a complex project there in the centre of London. The kind of things we do in BAM Nuttall, we deliver these large-scale infrastructure projects, mostly they're for public sector clients, so central government, local authority, Network Rail, Highways England, organisations like that. We've got 3,000 employees spread across 100 projects throughout the UK, and now there are a few examples there of the kind of things that we're doing. The interesting one at the bottom of the slide there, the Antarctic infrastructure modernisation works. So I don't think we've got any photos of that today, but we're on a 10-year framework project with the British Antarctic Survey, and we're building a new jetty for them for the new Sir David Attenborough survey vessel, which you might have seen on BBC News. Quite a famous project that, if you haven't heard of the Sir David Attenborough, it's more colloquially known as Boaty McBoatface. Yeah, we're building the wharf for that. Okay, if we just have the next slide. So BAM Constructs. So the construction arm of the company, the kind of things we do, we design, we build, we refurbish, we operate buildings. We've got a facilities management business as well, and we work not only with public sector clients in that space, so the local authorities that operate schools and hospitals and that kind of thing, but also the private clients. Lots and lots of things in and around Manchester. You'll see our green and orange boards, and you'll see the kinds of things we're building. So the construction arm of the company has a little over 2,500 employees in the UK. And one of the things that we're particularly proud of that we've done just recently, and we've won some awards for that, are our involvement with the Nightingale hospitals. So some of our teams at the beginning of the COVID pandemic, they were out there when things were very, very scary, and they were constructing these facilities from scratch that we hoped we were never going to have to use, and thankfully we didn't, but we were able to deliver them. Okay, so a little bit about our apprenticeships. We're recognised within the industry. One of the schemes that you might have heard of is the Rate My Apprenticeship scheme. We're particularly proud of that because that's something that's been around for quite some time, and we get rated on our performance by our apprentices themselves. We were very pleased in 2021 to achieve second place in their top 100 employers. And that's all employers, so that's not just construction, that's also that's all sectors. So there are mechanical companies in there, financial companies, you name it. And also our main training provider, we deliver many of our apprenticeships in conjunction with Leeds College of Building, which is a dedicated building college. They achieved second place in the provider ratings too. So we're very proud of what we do, and proud of the fact that it's recognised externally. I'm now going to pass you over to Rebecca, who will introduce herself and tell you a little bit about what she's doing now and what she's previously done, and a little bit about how our apprenticeship programme works. So thanks for listening today.
Thanks, Paul. Jamie, you're right to move on to the next slide. Hi everyone, so I'm Rebecca Stone, so I'm a stakeholder engagement and social value manager for BAM Nuttall, which means that I look after all aspects of sort of community engagement associated with the construction project. Previously to this, so I joined BAM Nuttall at 18 as an apprentice engineer, so I've actually come through the apprenticeship. I've got a few years of site experience working on highway projects and flood defence projects, and I've been doing my current role now for 2 years, and working in Manchester. We've got the Victoria North project coming up, which is going to be a redevelopment project just outside of Victoria Station. So a little bit about our apprenticeship pathways at BAM. So we've got our 4 main pathways in business support, IT digital, and our craft trade. So these types of apprenticeships are generally available by project need. And then our higher and degree level apprenticeships, which is our technical apprenticeships, are civil engineering and quantity surveying for BAM Nuttall, and construction management and building services engineering in the construct arm of the business. So a bit about our technical apprenticeship roles. So the civil engineering, it's a site-based role. You're expected to work out on site. Part of the role is to interpret drawings, to then use your equipment and relay that on site. So you're more telling people where things need to be built. You're also very involved in keeping accurate daily records of the work, which helps with the commercial aspect to make sure everything's running smoothly, and also assisting with putting together any health and safety plans and permits that are needed to carry out the job. Quantity surveying, so that is a commercial role, so that's more office based, and they work out all elements of the costs associated with running the project and making sure that our subcontractors get paid for the work that they do, and also making sure that the project is running to the contract requirements. So a bit about the programme structure. So we have a bespoke course with Leeds College of Building. So you will do a level 4 HNC, and then there's the option to progress onto a degree level apprenticeship, and it's slightly different to what I think most people would associate as an apprenticeship, how it runs. So with our apprenticeship, you do 9 weeks per year at college, and during that time you'll be put in accommodation in Leeds and live with a cohort of around 30 other apprentices at the time. And then for the remainder of the year, you'll take part in site placements. So whether you're engineering or quantity surveying or one of our construct roles, you're put into a site team, and you could be based anywhere in the country as part of that. And our apprenticeships also help you to earn professional qualifications. So for example, I've got engineering technician membership with the Institute of Civil Engineers, and we also have equivalent qualifications for the QS roles. So the entry requirements to join our high level apprenticeships, so our GCSEs in maths and English at grade 5 or above, and either 2 STEM A levels, so that's science, technology, engineering, maths related subjects, or a relevant level 3 qualification. So that could be a BTEC in something like construction in the built environment, engineering, finance, depending on what role it is that you're wanting to go into. And then our craft, trade, IT and business apprenticeships. So again, as mentioned earlier, these vary sort of from role to role, but you can generally join us on those with GCSEs, and they start from sort of level 2 or level 3 apprenticeships in those areas. Our application process, it's a full year sort of recruitment cycle. So if you were wanting to join us in the September after finishing your A levels, you would be expected to apply in the September of the final year of studying. So you would apply sort of the September to October time, and then there's a series of assessment centres, which I think they're trying to do some more in person now of those. And then by the January, February, you'll have an idea. Your offer will be made and you'll know whether you can come and join us in the following September. So that's it from us, and I'll hand over to Grant Thornton now.
Thanks very much, both of you, for that. So yes, next we've got Tom Pierce and Sue Lagarde from Grant Thornton, and apologies to Tom there, who might have seen on that slide I misspelt his name, so apologies.
I didn't see that, don't worry about it.
Okay, well, right, Tom, over to you then. Thank you.
It's actually me.
Okay,
but...
Sue.
Okay, sorry, I've confused everything.
Okay, over to Sue.
Thank you. So good afternoon, everyone. It's really great for us to have the opportunity to be here today and to talk to you all. So just a quick introduction from me. I'm Sue Lagarde and I'm an account manager within our People Advisory Talent Solutions team here at Grant Thornton. Now, you may know of us for being one of the world's leading accountancy and business advisory firms, and we are particularly really proud of all the work we do around apprenticeships. And there are two ways that we do this. The first is internally. And since apprenticeships were totally transformed back in 2017, we've actually trained over 3,000 of our own employees through our own internal apprenticeship scheme. And we don't only train school leavers, we also have senior managers and directors completing apprenticeships with us. And at any one time, we have around 1,000 employees on programme, and that equates to around 20% of our workforce at all stages and levels of their career. And the other way we work is from a client perspective, as we've partnered with some of the country's top training providers to co-design some unique apprenticeships where we've added some of the firm's expertise and real-world business insights. And through this model, we've actually trained over 4,500 of our clients' employees. We actually co-deliver around 14 different high-quality apprenticeship programmes covering leadership and management, finance, coaching and digital and data analytics that range from a level 3 right up to bachelor's degree level 6 and master's degree level 7. And I'm now going to hand over to my colleague Tom, who is actually a degree apprentice himself, and he's going to explain a bit more about degree apprenticeships and give us some insights from his perspective.
Yeah, so, sure. Thanks, Sue. Yeah, and just in way of introduction, so I joined Grant Thornton in 2015 and worked for about 5 years before moving on to a master's level apprenticeship. And it was something I was always very keen and passionate to do. As Sue mentioned, we've supported lots of employers look at apprenticeships for the first time and then also expand what they've been doing over the last 6 years. And there's so many good quality opportunities and a range of different sectors and industries that are offering apprenticeships. And specifically degree apprenticeships have been a particular growth area. With it's about a 70% increase in universities offering it in the UK over the last year, and yeah, as mentioned, a range of sectors with some sort of specialist roles, as you've already heard this afternoon, and then also more generalist roles in areas such as accountancy and finance and data analytics, which can be very transferable between teams as well as different companies in future. We work with a number of organisations that run rotational programs where you might spend 3 or 6 months in different areas, or also fixed roles and joining from the start, and then having the degree or other apprenticeship opportunities to provide that support and development. So my apprenticeship, I'm just coming to the end of the 2 years. So I submitted all of my evidence and portfolio last week. It's a senior leader apprenticeship. I wouldn't say I'm necessarily fully competent, but it's a thorough process on any of these apprenticeships. And there's over 30 different knowledge, skills and behaviours that I was required to evidence over the 2 years. And it's provided excellent structure around a qualification for me to be able to do that. I'm sure I would have continued developing over the last couple of years anyway, and got involved in different projects. And I think we've all had to adjust and change working patterns over the last couple of years. And really be innovative in terms of how we work together and deliver on client services. So it's been a great opportunity for me to have the educational experience alongside that, and then to be able to discuss with colleagues within Grant Thornton, and then also other participants on the programme. And I think the peer network you get from doing a degree apprenticeship really supports your professional development during the program, but also more broadly, because you should and will likely keep in contact with those individuals after, and you'll have a lot in common in terms of going through that experience at the same kind of time in your careers, be that starting a new career or developing within an existing role. Do we have some slides, Sue?
Well, there is the next slide. Yes.
Okay.
That's it.
That's fine. So I always think of degree apprenticeships as fundamentally it's the £100,000 question, where if you were to go to university via the traditional route, you'll likely take on about 50,000. Oh, here we go. It might not be included on this slide. No, that's just more about us. You've heard about us now. So this is some stuff we do in apprenticeships. No, that's fine. Well, you can leave this up. This is some of the summary that Sue started with. And yeah, the £100,000 question. So if you were to go to university and take on that debt, and the alternative is potentially starting a career. The average apprenticeship salary is £19,500, and that was as of this month. So I think it's a good salary to potentially start on as a graduate and go on to a master's level apprenticeship. I think it's even better if you're finishing school, potentially still living at home and accessing that kind of salary, where you could earn, say, 60, 70,000 in take-home salary over the 4 years of a degree apprenticeship, and save yourself 50k at least in university debt. So you can be quite a significant amount of money, about 100,000 up in your early 20s if you kind of go onto that degree apprenticeship route. And other specialist apprenticeships that are out there, particularly in areas such as like civil engineering, as you've already heard, accountancy and finance. Our school leavers, we call them fast track apprentices, because starting at 18 they'll be fully qualified accountants by the age of 23. So to be able to gain that experience and a qualification alongside it, it's just a fantastic opportunity. And they're doing the same work, so you'd be doing the same work. So we pay the same salaries for school leavers and graduates to acknowledge that. And I think the transferability between different industries and the idea of starting a new career, but likely having a second and third career in the space of your working life, and industries changing so radically that it might well be that in the classroom you have people retraining from previous roles and sharing that experience, as well as people like yourselves potentially starting on a new career. So you still get that kind of community aspect that you'd get from a traditional university route, where you're meeting people in the classroom and having that kind of peer network. I think that the final thing with a degree apprenticeship, because it's the work, it's the employment and role. You're first choosing the kind of job that you'd like to have in a particular industry, and then secondly, with the educational aspect, you also combine that with your own interests. And I think if you were to go straight into work, it can be difficult to really develop your own interests within a professional role. Whereas with the educational side in there and the scope to complete relevant projects and assignments, often based on your own company or in learning about other industries through case study examples, it really helps develop your own interest professionally. And so it can be that that over the course of the apprenticeship, you get to know your own interests and kind of career aspirations more, and fundamentally in terms of the people that you meet and using the kind of projects on the educational side to get involved in projects within work. So use it as a license to take on more responsibility and learn about how different teams operate outside of your immediate team as well. So it's very much a good opportunity for that as well. You can use it to kind of get involved and shape your role based on your interests, which is more than kind of if you were to go into a standard job straight from school or university for that matter. Thanks. And I think we'll have some time at the end for questions.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you both to Sue and Tom there. That was absolutely fascinating. Really good to hear from someone who is doing an apprenticeship at the moment. So next we've got Warren Young at HellermanTyton, and Warren, I believe you've got a video that you want to show. So shall I go ahead and play that video straight away?
Yes, if you would please, Jamie.
Okay, here we go. Give me one moment.
I work for HellermanTyton doing a level 3 tool making apprenticeship. I was interested in engineering and I seen it as an option in school, so I did that in school. Found out about the apprenticeship through a family friend, and then he told me about it and I just inquired. I did one interview and then did like a little trial, 2-day trial, and then we got my mum and dad around the factory. And the company makes injection mold tools, also they do cable management. Cable management's like cable ties and stuff for when you're doing electrics. I chose this apprenticeship because it's engineering is always like good pay, and when I actually looked into it, it just looked like the best thing to do because I like new technology and stuff like that. So it's just a bit like pretty much fitted what I wanted to do. The apprenticeship's 5 years on, and I'll be a qualified tool maker after 5 years. I used to go to college 1 day a week, and I did a 6-month starting period. I've done a level 3 in operations maintenance, but now I'm going back to do another course. The role that I do is to make the actual injection mold tool, which actually molds part. So that's what we do in the tool room. My job is actually to run the machines to get the final product, which is a tool. The tools that we actually make in the tool room, they actually make the cable tie by injecting the plastic into the mold tool, and then when it opens, your cable tie falls out. We got high-speed millers. We program on the computer and then send it to the machine. And then it runs for hours. I could run up to like a day. The hours I do are 8 till 4:30. And I'm normally on different machines every day, working at different jobs. It's always a different day when I come in, but I'm always working to a high tolerance. I've got a mentor who just helps through it all the way. He's like the guy I go to all the time now. We've got a list of what tools are coming in like next, so whatever tools next on the list, we just I'd get a job from my mentor, and then he'll sort me out what I should do. But I think learning about this job is a lot more technical because tolerance is working to, but it's a lot more rewarding because it's making a tool yourself. I had an interest in technology and how stuff works anyway, but I didn't realise it'd be this technical and high tech. You've got to have an interest in engineering and technology if you want to be an engineer. It's all revolved around new technology. I think you've got to be on the ball all the time. You've always got to be concentrating. So if you mess, you could just press one wrong button and that's it. It costs 20 grand. So you've got to be mature to be an engineer. Yeah, I think it's a good opportunity for me. I'm just going to hopefully progress to be a fully qualified toolmaker. If you do get an apprenticeship that's this good, you should just take it. Yeah, I was looking for apprenticeships like every single day before I come here, and luckily I got this one. And it's probably the best one. The company's got like a load of different companies in Germany and stuff, so if you're a toolmaker, you're wanted anywhere. The best thing about the job is you actually get your final part when you've made it. You look at it and say, yeah, I made that. Yeah, probably the best bit. I think it's probably a good trade to get into, but you got to be wanting to do it and actually want to go to work every day and actually do engineering. I think it's I enjoy it anyway. It's probably the best thing I've done.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Jamie. So yeah, as we were saying earlier on, HellermanTyton, we are a cable management company. We're the leading manufacturer of quality products for fastenings, fixings, installing, connection, installation, protection of cables, network solutions. That's what HellermanTyton do. And early on you heard about the cross rail. I can tell you now that all our cable ties, or what are in the cross rail, are actually from HellermanTyton Manchester. We're a special cable tie that we produce, and it's a flame retardant cable tie. So it's a vast amount of countries that we operate in. We actually operate in 18 countries, and we're all got world-class facilities within them countries. We have over 6,000 employees, but the Manchester base is the biggest base for production of the cable tie. On average, we're making around 88 million cable ties per week. We have got the capability of doing 120 million a week, and we're constantly looking at how we expand on this. So our facility is based in Manchester, and we have over 320 employees. And again, when we talk about apprenticeships, it's something that not a lot of school people know about. I have spoken to schools and they're not 100% sure on it. So really what an apprenticeship is, you can actually earn money and gain a skill at the same time. So you are an employee. You are an employee of that company. That's the main thing. You will get holidays like everybody else, and you have a contract of employment, which is great. And as you heard early on within the conversation, you're not running up a big debt within a university or anything like that. This is where you can earn skills, and really good skills, taking you forward for the future, and earn good money at the same time. So what do we do at HellermanTyton in Manchester? So we're very fortunate here. We have apprenticeships within the finance department. We have our own design team. Our design team, yes, they design cable ties, but we also design plastic cable runners for in aircraft. So the Airbus that you see flying into Manchester, HellermanTyton cable ties are in that. The metro, we supply all their cable ties for the metro. It's a massive industry. And at HellermanTyton, we have design engineers, we have engineers who design the tools what actually produce this product. Not only that, we have obviously an HR department, we have a sales department, a supply chain. Within Manchester, you can come into HellermanTyton and there's thousands and thousands of routes you can go. So how do we take them on? We look at apprenticeships from level 3. With the level 3, you need to be looking at potentially maths and English at C grade or 4 and above. Again, it's the stuff that we produce, and the routes that you can go within HellermanTyton are unbelievable. Some of our apprenticeships start on an 18-month course, and we run them through the 18 months, but some are on 60-month courses with us. And we take them through every single aspect of that. Yes, you will go to college, as Joe said in the video. You do spend some time at college to get the functional skills in there to make sure you're okay. But a lot of it is on the job learning. And we do body you up with a mentor, as Joe said. And that mentor will look after you and make sure that everything's going okay, that you have no issues. For me, I'm from a background of going to school like you. I never went to university, I never went to college. I just went straight into the industry. And my background is injection molding. Got all the training I needed on site and built my way up from that. And now I'm the UK training manager. We have people here at HellermanTyton who are on apprenticeships with us, and they've actually come right through the ranks, and they're now directors of the company. We've been with us that long. The one thing we will say about it is, with HellermanTyton, there's a massive skill shortages within the engineering department and tool making and highly skilled people. So if you're considering an apprenticeship, please look at them. Don't just think, oh, an apprenticeship is something that somebody does. Not everybody, as I've said, ends up at college and ends up at university. We do need people like yourselves who'll be coming through and going, yeah, apprenticeship is the thing for us. Some of the things we say at HellermanTyton is, you don't have to be the best at what you do. You don't have to be the best in the class. But what we do expect you is to give us your best. And if you give us your best, we can help you and support you all the way. As I've said, we've had people on apprenticeship courses starting at level 3 and then now site directors. And they will say nothing more than, we support apprenticeships coming into this company. And again, I don't know what you've heard about apprenticeships at the moment or anything like that, but I would say if you're considering a career and you want a skill that is going to last you a lifetime and you can earn a good living at it, please consider an apprenticeship. If you're willing to learn, all we're saying is have the right work ethic, do the best you can for us, and we'll support you. We want people who are willing to learn, but will question what we do. That's the main thing with our apprenticeships. That's it. Thank you very much.
That's brilliant. Thank you, Warren. And that was really interesting insight into well, from an employer who recruits apprentices, excuse me. So thank you to all the speakers today. That's been, we've seen different perspectives, and I think we've had a really good overview of degree level apprenticeships. So I'm going to kick us off then with some questions. And so you please just feel free to speak up. We might get people speaking over each other, but we'll just do our best and we'll just sort these out. So please, can you talk a little bit about if someone is thinking about an apprenticeship, thinking about applying, where can they find the opportunities? Do they have to go direct to your websites, or is there somewhere else that they can go to have a look at these? Don't know if anybody wants to pick that one up.
Is the Find My Apprenticeship tools quite useful? So that's the most comprehensive directory and listing of different apprenticeship roles. So it's called Find My Apprenticeship, and all employers are encouraged to put their roles on there. You still probably are better off going directly onto the company websites of interest and directly seeing if they have roles available. But if you're more kind of looking for general interest, say in your area or a particular job role, then you can search by those terms as well. Or degree apprenticeships or other apprenticeships offered by particular training organisations as well. So you might prefer courses available locally too, so you can search by training provider, job area, location as well, or sector.
Thanks, Tom.
Yeah, Find My Apprenticeship.
Brilliant.
We use the National Apprenticeship Service. I'm not sure whether we're talking about the same thing there.
Yeah,
that
links up.
Yeah. And yeah, would reiterate that also the vacancies are on company websites, but there are lots of organisations like the Rate My Apprenticeship organisation that we refer to that also advertise these things. So good to just look around and use the search engines.
Yeah, again, same with us. We put it on our own website, HellermanTyton website, but we also put it on the apprenticeship website as well.
Fantastic. Thank you, everybody. We've heard a lot this afternoon about the advantages of doing an apprenticeship over a more traditional university getting a degree route, including the fact that you can earn while you learn, don't get student debt, and you have a guaranteed job at the end of it. I was wondering if perhaps someone can talk a little bit from the employer side of things. Do you notice a difference between someone who's come to the end of their apprenticeship, and then do you notice a difference between someone who is a graduate who is coming on? Are there any differences there?
Yeah.
Go on, sorry.
Go on. I think from my perspective, obviously, once we finish our apprenticeship as engineers in BAM, you put in at the same level as graduates, and I've noticed that career progression for apprentices early on definitely moves a lot quicker than someone who's maybe come through the university route, because by that point we'll have had 3 years of on-the-job experience, whereas someone who's come through university might not have the same level of experience, so they need that few extra years to get that experience to start that career progression that the apprentices would have.
Yeah, I think myself, we've had quite a few apprentices, shall we say, and Unfortunately, not everybody makes it. I do think that 16, 17-year-olds, which we've took on at HellermanTyton, they've opened my eyes. They are very still young people, and that's the main thing we have to remember. And obviously, some of the biggest things that we've found taking the younger generation on, 16 to 17, 18-year-olds, we have to give them financial advice as well, something that we've offered them, because obviously they've come from school and then suddenly our starting apprenticeship for a level 3 is around 14,500. So at 16-year-old, it's quite a lot of money in a year to be earning. Obviously there's taxing that out of that, but you do find that they're very immature, some of them. But what we do find is if we have the right attitude from them and we put them with the right mentors, we have excellent mentors here who have come through the route. All the mentors we use are ex-apprentices, and it's a real good, and they can explain to the people who are coming through, come on, you're not at school now, this is how we do it, this is how it's got to be done, and it has worked really well for us. It really does work well. And some of the other incentives we say to these people when they come through the door, we put them with an apprentice who's just come out of the time or has been out 12 months, and we just say, have a general talk to them generally about what you've been doing, how you found everything, because we do get feedback, and we do invite parents in. So once we take an apprentice on, we think it's important to get the parents involved as well. We get the parents in, we walk them around the business, we explain the business, and we do find that once you get the parents on your side, you are a lot better with the apprentice. They're getting up, they're coming in on time, because the parents are behind them saying, you're not messing this opportunity up. And then finally, our apprentice, what we have at the moment, will say to them, show them what car you drive. And most of the lads here who are on apprenticeships now, who have come out of their 5 years, are on 40, 50 grand now, because it's that highly skilled. They're driving around in Mercs, and that tends to then switch the apprentice on as well. Come on, this is where you can be in 4 or 5 years' time. Look at what you've got, and we find that really does work well.
Thank you very much. Does anybody else want to come in on that question? No, that's great. Thank you for your very honest answer there, Warren. I think you know, it's worth bearing in mind that it is a big shift that the young people will have to kind of take on board, and it's really good to hear that you've got additional levels of support there for them, and I'm sure lots of other companies do the same, and that's really interesting to consider. Thank you very much. Okay, my next question is, we've touched upon the different lengths of apprenticeships that are out there. Said that there are some that are 18 months and some that are 60 months. Now, obviously, a 60-month apprenticeship is a big kind of commitment to undertake. So, what would you say to a young person who maybe still isn't quite sure about what they want to do with their life, and yeah, what would you say to someone who was still thinking about it and wasn't sure?
I'd say probably do your research and really think about which kind of companies and sectors, different industries you might like the idea of working in. Like we've heard some great examples this afternoon, and I think engineering can really suit some people. In a funny way, accountancy and finance can be a similar kind of analytical kind of skill set, but applied in a different way. And there's such a range. There's over about 650 different types of apprenticeships out there now, and about 60% are at the higher levels. So you could start on a lower level apprenticeship and then still use the progression routes out there to over 4 or 5 years. So I would say the main thing is choosing the type of job that you want to have and the kind of organisation you'd be proud to say, oh, I work here and this is what we do. And those, once you kind of have those in place, the types of specialisms and training that you're going to take is sort of secondary, really. That it's development around a job, so it's choosing the kind of job you want to have and would be proud speaking about, really. And yeah, there's various tools out there, but it's just doing the research and seeing what appeals.
I couldn't put it any better, Tom. There, and I think that's exactly where we are. The thing to bear in mind, perhaps many of you, because of COVID and other things going on, work experience opportunities haven't been out there. They've just not been available in the same way. So we've done it. Other companies have done it. We've done virtual work experience, but it's not the same. Have a think about when you're putting that CV together and that application. Think about you and what you do, what excites you, where you want to be, all those kind of things, all that transferable experience. We probably all run assessment centres and interview days, and really what we're looking for in those assessment centres and interview days are the right kind of people with the right kind of approach, people that like us for what we are and what we represent and want to be a part of that. And I suspect that's where we all are today. But do your homework, as Tom said, and just reflect on that before you come for interview.
I think it's good to know as well, like if you're doing your research on the company, so see what other roles are available. For example, I came through an engineering apprenticeship because I decided from a young age I wanted to be an engineer. Got about halfway through my A-levels, said I didn't want to go to uni, found the apprenticeship, but then I've completed that, but now I'm doing a different role within my company. So it might seem like a long commitment, but 2, 3, 4, 5 years actually out of your whole career isn't that a massive a commitment. So if you work for a company that has got other opportunities there, it's definitely worth seeing out the qualifications.
Yeah, I can just agree with everybody else. We do have open days. We've started them up again. Well, we're starting them up in April. Hopefully COVID will keep as low as it is. And what we do, we invite schools in to walk children around, have a look, or young adults around, should I say, and when they have a look at what we do, they can have a look at the business. They can see what we do. I mean, we've had engineers who've come into this business. We've had people who've come into the HR role and wanted an office-based job, but then seen all the robotics we've got and they've sidestepped and gone into that industry, and we've gone fine. If that's where you've gone round and had a buzz and think, hey, that's really interesting, and started asking questions, when opportunities come available, we're quite open to say, well, yeah, you've done that for 12 months, but if you're thinking of having a change, have a look. As Joe said in the advert, we brought him in for a 2-week trial, just so he could get to see everything, see how everything worked before he made that commitment to us. And again, we find that works. At 16, it is so difficult to know what you want to do for the rest of your life. I think the average person now, they're saying, will have 15 jobs in a lifetime. We've got people here who have never left the business. We celebrate in this year, we've got 4 people who have done 50 years with us, and they're retiring. And I think that speaks a lot of the company. And again, make sure you get the right company. Make sure you do research, because not everybody's an engineer. There is financial people desperate out there what are needed. We struggle to get professionals in every area. So yeah, have a real good think about it, but make sure that when you go in there, you're happy with the company. That's the main thing, because you could be there a long time.
Thank you. So last question is building on what you said there, Warren. When you do an apprenticeship, some people, as you say, do stay in the company for a very long time, but you're not locked in it. You're not locked in there. So I was wondering if perhaps Rebecca and Tom could speak a little bit about the transferable skills that they have learnt on there when they were doing their apprenticeships. So skills that they can take with them to different roles.
Yeah, I think like I said, my apprenticeship was in engineering. which has helped with the role that I do now. So part of my role is communicating to the community what works are going on. So it does help with me to be able to communicate between the site team and the client and various stakeholders exactly what work is happening in their area. You know, you've got those extra years of being in a workplace behind you. So I'm quite fortunate that I was able to stay within the same company, but also, you know, at 23, when most people are just finishing uni, I had that work experience behind me that I could have taken into another role somewhere else.
Yeah, I'd completely agree, and it's been interesting seeing how different apprenticeship schemes have developed, because groups of employers get together and agree what's involved in an apprenticeship, for that then to be approved by government as an official apprenticeship and eligible for funding. So that's why there's been such a growth in the different types of apprenticeships available, and you know that there's transferability, at least between the employers that have been involved in creating that apprenticeship. But really, any employer that is hiring you onto a particular apprenticeship scheme, they've identified the competencies and like required development of that apprenticeship to meet their outcomes. But there's other employers in the same industry that will have been involved in designing, developing that. So it's a really good way of getting that kind of external validation from an apprenticeship, as well as the experience that you'd get from a job. So yeah, lots of transferability, I'd say.
Thanks, Tom. Thank you both. Okay, so we're coming to the end of the session now. I don't have any more questions for anymore, but does anybody have anything else that they just want to say before we wrap up? Any final remarks from anybody? No? Fantastic. Well, I think you've all spoken brilliantly today. Thank you ever so much for coming along. And thank you to everyone who is watching. I hope that session was informative to you. You can find out lots more about apprenticeships on the GMAX website. That's gmacs.co.uk. So please do check that out. Thank you to all our speakers today, Rebecca Stone, Paul Skerry from BAM Nuttall, and Sue Lagarde and Tom Pierce from from Grant Thornton, and Warren Young from HellermanTyton. So thank you ever so much, and we hope to see you again at another Meet Your Future session. Thank you.